Welcome to the Gen X Unhinged podcast. We're just two everyday conservative Americans wanting to express our opinion. My name is David Cole. Across the screen from me is my cousin Christian Cole. Christian, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I was like, good. How are you? So, I want to just say I've really stepped up my game. I've got my microphone in good order. I've got the podcast software working. What exactly have you done today?
Basically just got up and went over my Facebook and talked to you a
Yeah,
little bit, went through the news and, just a daily for me.
just chilling. All
Yeah,
right. Well,
just hanging out.
what do you think we should talk about first?
Oh man,
I
there's a
think,
lot.
yeah, let's talk about the government shutdown. What
Okay.
do you think of the government shutdown? I mean, that's kind of the big topic right now.
Well, I think
So,
there's a lot of people
what do you
without
got?
jobs right now. I think there's a lot of people who's going to lose jobs right now. The Demo. It's unbelievable to me, but it's like to me, it's like the Democrats don't even care. It's like they just want to be right so bad and they think that so many people support them, and they really don't. I mean, it's like you've given your number one worst nightmare in life is Donald Trump, but you've given him the keys to the kingdom. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why would you do this? Why would you, if you don't want this guy to have this much control, why did you allow him to have this much control? You give him the keys to the kingdom. He has the keys to the purse. He gets to decide who's in control, what programs stay in, what programs stay out, what is necessary spending while we're in a government shutdown. So he's picking the programs. So, of course, what he's going to do, he's going to pick the programs that are necessarily what we need for the country. And he has the tariff money to back it up, so he could pretty much do whatever he wants.
So, what do you think? What's the big hangup for the Democrats on this? I don't really get it.
They got to be right, number one, and Schumer doesn't want to be forced out by AOC, and that's the big one, because A's making a move. She's making a move up the totem pole. I think she's going to run for president, which would be kind of phenomenal.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it would be fantastic. It would be. Her and Zack Bryan could run together. It'd be a powerhouse. It'd be an absolute powerhouse.
So they voted. They did this vote. They're not approving the CR. It's clean CR. The Republicans really were just trying to kick the negotiations for this a little bit down the road because this was all good. And
they just voted for it. They just voted for it, what, 5-6 months ago? The exact same thing?
Right. And so, but it seems like Trump is just really making lemonade out of lemons here because, he's
absolutely.
just going to town.
And they're allowing him. That's the thing. They're allowing him to do that. And I don't understand if they're so against him, then why do they continue to make these moves that seem like they're for him? I mean, they continually set this man up for an I got you moment, and he continuously spins it on him. I mean, every single time. That's the most interesting thing to me is that you're watching a master at work. This guy is so smart. He does so many things, and he just walks them down the path. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, at the end of the day, the Democratic Party has absolutely positively no common sense or street smarts at all. They're not ahead of the game. They don't see what's coming. They only see what's right in front of their face, and if they don't plan ahead, there's no chess at all. I mean, I guess I would say manipulation. I use that lightly because I don't believe that that's what Trump is doing. But in reality, it is because, he is saying, well, if I do this, they're going to do this. Well, ultimately, it's going to end up here, which is a slight manipulation. But it's not, because basically he's just saying things that he wants to do for the country, and they're fighting him and just forcing it into what he wants. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. And, if you just walk down the street and you talk to your everyday Democrat,
is there anything? Is there such a thing?
There's, Chris, we both have a lot of friends that are Democrats.
Right.
And
they don't admit it anymore, though.
Them.
Well,
Not as much.
I do too, because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to be a Democrat.
It is. And it's like they've lost, these people that are running the Democratic Party have lost touch with the majority of their constituents. And I don't.
Well, this is the thing. It's
Go
because
ahead.
they're running against fake ballots. They're running against a census for the amount of ballots because of an illegal census count, because we counted all the illegals in the country, which gave them all the power and all the houses. I mean, we in California, we live in a super majority Democrat. I mean, we can't do anything. And then we got Prop 50 coming right now, which is going to change it again. I mean, you talk about a total hypocrisy. The Democratic Party has people convinced that they need to vote for 50 to save democracy. Well, so let me get this straight. You want us to vote for something that we already voted for in 2010, which took the power away from the politicians, gave it to the people so that we could hold the private companies accountable for what they do. But because if that way, if they gerrymandered or did anything crazy, the other party could call and say, hey, that's not right. You need to change it. So what do we do? All of a sudden, he comes in, Newsom comes in and said, hey, we're going to give it back to the politicians. And you got all the Democrats saying, yeah, we should do that. You know, F him for what he did to Texas. Why do we care what they did in Texas? We're not in Texas. Okay. We're in California. You know, that's what we do here. Like, so basically you're advocating to take the power away from the people and give it to the politicians because the politician is a Democrat. He's on your side. That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
This whole thing doesn't make sense to me because you can just go back. You can go back to when Obama was president. You can find clips where he's saying, this is wrong. We can't gerrymander. We can't allow the Republicans to do the gerrymandering. And
Well, see,
now,
and that's what the whole thing was set up for in 2010 in California. We took it out of the government's hands. We gave it to a private institution that does it. So when a private institution does it, if the private institution says, hey, I know that this part over here voted Democrat, but we're going to give it to the Republicans, the Democrats can call up and say, hey, that's bullshit. You can't do that. And they have a laws that they can't maneuver. See, with the way they're going to pull it back to the politicians, well, they have control of the maps. It doesn't matter who voted for what. They just do whatever they want. Where when it's a private company, both parties have the right to push against it, you know, to push back on it, saying, hey, that's BS. 70% of this county voted for Trump or voted for, you know, what's her,
whoever.
Kamala. Yeah, yeah. You know, why is it red or why is it blue? When it's done this way, we don't have that power anymore. We lose the power to do that.
Yeah. And that's crazy. And that's not what we want to have happen. So there's a lot of crazy stuff happening in California right now.
Yes.
Well, I guess there's always crazy, but really right now, there's some big stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have the fire stuff coming out. We got that lady, the governor, whatever her, I was going to say a bad word, whatever her name is.
Katie Porter.
Katie Porter, she's just off the hinge. I mean, I just can't believe the amount of stupidity that these people that are running for office, how they do it. I mean, as Republicans, you know, you can look. Nobody could be a Republican like AOC, like Ishtar Ilmar, whatever her name is. They can't. They could never run under the Republican flag. You know, like Ishtar Ilmar, whatever her name is. The reason why she got into office is because they flooded her district with illegal immigrants from her home country. Okay, so they got all these ballots. They went and they gave them all driver's licenses. And with the driver's license, you get registered to vote. And with the registration to vote, you get a mail-in ballot. That's how they did it. So it wasn't about what the actual ballots. We get it in our heads that it was about the actual ballot. Somebody went and filled in the ballot to vote for that person. That's not what they did. Basically, they just added a bunch of votes. They said, okay, here we put, let's say we put 10,000 of these people into this area. That means that even if we can pad the numbers by 10,000, because they're not going to go into each individual ballot and make sure that that person voted for that person, because it's illegal to do that. So I mean, that's how they did it. And like with all these CDLs, the reason why we're having so many problems with CDLs is because every state that issued these CDLs, the commercial driver's license, a ballot went out to that name and that address. So it gave them a number, not a ballot. It gave them a number.
Yeah, I appreciate that because I'm embarrassed to say I've often seen her on TV and I'm like, well, how did she even get voted in?
Right,
And so
right. Well, she got
that
voted
helps
in
to
because
clear that up.
because what they've been doing, Obama did that. They've been doing it. If you go to these districts, like in Michigan, they're 90 for, I mean, I don't know if you've seen any of the videos, but Michigan is like almost completely Muslim. I mean, I can't, and not that that's a bad thing. Everyone has a right to their own religion, but I mean, they're like one step away from Sharia law, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so that clears up an area for me, and I got to think some people listening, that's going to help them, because just from the outside looking in, it's just like, she hates being here. All she does is talk about how bad it is here, and yet she's in our government. It's like, well, why are you in our government? I mean, it's crazy.
Because it made her rich. I mean, what other country in the world can you marry your brother and become a millionaire? At the end of the day, how does that work? You see what I'm saying? We're the only country in the world you can do that in.
All right. I want to kind of circle back to the government shutdown. I like the California stuff. I want to talk about the Pacific Palisades as well. But I want to, the WIC program that, the Democrats voting to keep money away from these different programs, and yet it was hurting the WIC program, and Trump made a decision. You have a little more information on that. How did that work? What was going on there?
What happened is, so first of all, the Democrats, $1.1 trillion. That's what they want. They want $1.1 trillion to fund all their BS. And basically funding all their BS is what it does is we pay for illegal immigrants healthcare. Okay. This is all about votes. Okay. They're protecting their voter base because their voter base is all mail-in ballot, and all the mail-in ballots are through illegal immigrants. Medi-Cal, for instance. Medi-Cal is what we have here in the state of California. Medi-Cal is a private division that's handled all of our Medicare, our Obamacare in the state of California. So what happens is Medi-Cal gets 70% of its funding from the federal government. That's how we are paying. They are paying for health care for illegal immigrants. They're just sidestepping it through state legislation and state laws to be able to do it. And that's where we need to connect the dots. Anyway, on the $1.1 trillion, so basically that's what they're fighting for. The Republicans are finally saying, no, we're not going to do it, because they know what the problem is. And so there's certain programs that are coming down the pipe that are being cut off because they don't have the money, because the government's not funded. WIC is one of the other big ones. Well, Trump decided the other day that WIC was a pretty important thing. He needed to take care of these women and children. So he just went to the tariff shelf and grabbed what he needed, popped it in the game, and let it go. Mind you, the tariffs, the Democrats have been fighting him on that. They took him to court on it, So this guy, Trump's got $200 billion just chilling from tariffs that we've collected from the American people, our corporation, the United States of America. At the end of the day, that's what it is. We're all shareholders in a major corporation with the best security in the world. That's basically what it is. And with that being said, and I think he's going to do it with other stuff. I think that what's going to happen is every time that the Democrats challenge him and say, hey, with you not opening the government, we don't have this program. And then Trump's going to say, you know what? You're right. That is a good program. The people, the American people, the people I'm here to protect, they need that program. So you know what? I'm going to go right over here to this tariff shelf, the American savings. I'm going to take that out and I'm going to put it in here. We're going to keep that program afloat so you guys get off your ass and pass a bill.
And this is our racist, awful president.
Correct.
Right?
That's the one who doesn't care about anything, who lacks empathy.
Doesn't care. It's only, I mean, I think he just proves over and over again he's a pretty good guy. I mean, he's got an odd way about doing stuff, not something that I would necessarily approve of, but yet it seems to me like his heart is where we want it to be. And he's running our country a little bit more like a business, which quite frankly, we needed to have happen.
Right. And I agree. But the problem is, because the Democrats have played identity politics, at the end of the day, this is the thing. People hate Trump. Okay. Most Bravo males are Democrats, right? And nothing agitates a Bravo male more than an alpha male. Trump is an alpha male. Trump is, that sounds crazy, but I mean, it is really
I agree
the truth. And there's people in the middle who are alpha Bravos, or kind of in between, and they can handle Trump. But A straight alpha male is a disaster to a Bravo male. They just can't handle it. They're jealous of his money. They're jealous of greed. Instead of hating on him for what he's done, they hate his success. Instead of going and making their own success, they want to hate this guy for his success. And it just, that whole lifestyle, I mean, the whole Democratic Party is nothing but hate. In my opinion, these days, it just, everyone just hates everybody. I mean, and that's the thing, because in the 80s and 90s, Gen Xers, when we grew up, we played sports. We played football. We played bad. We knew how it was to lose. We understood the agony of defeat, the wild world of sports. It was in the beginning of the program, the agony of defeat. If you don't ever lose, you don't know how to lose. And if you don't know how to lose, you throw a temper tantrum, and it's mind blowing when you actually do lose. It's like losing somebody that you love. If you've never lost somebody you love, when it happens, it's going to crush you. But the second time it happens, it's not so hard. The third time, it just gets easier and easier and easier. It sounds horrible, but this is the fact. It's like a dog. Your first dog was really bad, but the second dog, not so much. The third dog, you're like, oh, it's time to get another dog. I mean, and it sounds weird, but that's really the truth. That's a true statement.
I don't really look at it the same way. We can go with it.
I mean, I've had 5 dogs in my lifetime. Okay. When you get a dog, you know their life expectancy, if you're lucky, is 10 years, right?
Yep.
You know you're going to bury that dog. When you get a puppy, you know you're burying it. That's just the way it is. You can love him. You can get attached to him, and he can be your friend, but don't go in too deep, because you're going to need another friend at some point. You know what I mean? It doesn't make the dog's life worse any less, but at the end of the day, you have to know there's an expiration date to that. And it shouldn't really crush you all that much. And you learn that from the first death. And that's where, with politics and with the Democrats, that's where they don't know how to lose. The participation trophies, everyone's included, women and men's sports. It's all one big giant conglomerate, conclusive thing where everyone's included. Well, if you don't know how to lose, when you lose, it's bad. And you're controllable.
Yeah.
Because they control that pain.
This hits close to home, because my wife and I are going to have to put down our dog Cooper today.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And you're right. We've had multiple dogs in our married life, and it's hard to do, but it was much harder the first time. And now it's unfortunately just, you realize it's just a fact of life, and you have to do it.
Oh, it doesn't make it not like you're excited about it. I'm not saying you get excited.
I like the analogy, though. I like the analogy. I love sports. I played it all my life. Unfortunately, I've lost more than I've won.
Right.
And it's okay. It's not a bad thing.
But so and this is the thing, sports were such a big deal in our generation, is that even the people who went and watched it, who went to the rallies, who went to the games, the softball games, soccer games, whatever, if they had friends playing, they also felt what it felt like to lose. And that's the problem. None of these Democrats know what it's like to lose. So when they do lose, they get hurt, and their feelings get hurt, and the Democrats as a party manipulate that pain, and they say, hey, come with us, and you don't have to feel that pain anymore. Follow us, and you don't have to feel that loss anymore. And that's the thing, if you don't ever feel the loss, and so they all believe that when they do lose, it's because they're losing unfairly. They're losing because we're cheating, or we're doing this, or he's a bad man, or he's a fascist, or he's a racist, or now he's a pedophile. He's always something worth hating, because it's okay to lose to somebody you hate, because you can put that through them. It's not my party's fault. It's not my party's fault that we lost. It's not our views. It's not how we feel. It's because he's racist. He's bad. He's this, he's this, he's this, and this. This is why we're losing. It's not because we're wrong. And that's where the Democrats have really screwed it up.
And I think people are going to hear on that you come off stronger on these issues. But at the end of the day, we agree on this stuff. I mean, you go about it, and I'm not trying to say you're a little rough around the edges, but you don't, what you're saying, if you just keep listening and dig down a little bit, it's like, well, I don't think he's wrong. I mean, and I think there are really some good Democrats in this world. In my neighborhood, which I'm from Oregon, so there's a lot in my neighborhood, but there are good people, but their hate for Trump supersedes common sense a lot of times.
What are you gonna do in 2028? Okay, who's the Democrats got? What's their platform? They've got nothing. And that's what I'm saying. As a Democrat, there are Democrats that will agree with me, and they will understand it. And the fact of the matter is that there are Democrats that do know how to lose. The centrists,
Yep.
the Trump Democrats, the Kennedy Republicans. You know, they're all in this mix. And what they're happening to them is they're like, you know what? He's kind of right. I can't back this Democratic Party. So I'm just not going to vote.
Yeah.
And that, best case scenario for us, you know what I mean? And that's the case. But the Democrats are never going to win another election unless they start getting with the people. And the problem is the way they all got elected, like Ishtar and AOC and all these people who got voted in this way, they don't understand that they only got where they're at because it was fixed. Okay, people don't really like them.
You're just trying to get more compliments out of me, so I'm going to move us along here because, I think we got to talk about the recent developments in the Pacific Palisades because I think there's a pretty good story there. So I don't think any of us will have forgot, but just to kind of remind people of what happened here. So this all started on New Year's Day, 2025. There was a small brush fire. They called it the Lachman Fire in the hills above Pacific Palisades. And, that one got put out, they thought, but it smoldered underground. And then on January 7th, around 10:30 a.m., this thing just took off. And it grew it grew from a 10-acre fire to over 23,000-acre fire in just days. It just went bananas.
So fast it killed 12 people.
So fast it killed 12 people. And so one of the big parts of that was the underbrush. So what's the underbrush? That's that tangled mess of dry shrubs and grasses and dead vegetation under trees. And so that underbrush was not taken care of correctly. I'm not saying that's the whole problem, but it just was not taken care of, right?
Well, yeah, it wasn't taken care of.
And so that led to 12 confirmed deaths. There's been a study that up to 440 more deaths have happened because of the smoke inhalation and the different trauma that came from that fire. The property damage, there was 6,837 structures torched, lost.
Which the government's fighting them to get the permits to rebuild. So most of those houses aren't rebuilt yet.
Almost none of the houses are rebuilt yet.
Correct.
It's awful.
That's correct.
Awful. And so yesterday there was a big thing that happened. What happened, Christian?
Well, they caught the guy that did it. Basically, he started the fire, and they basically brought him up on charges. He's just a standard arson, typical guy. Started the fire, went up, watched the firefighters do it. He's just your typical arson. It is crazy. And the fact of the matter is what he did was wrong, but it didn't have to end up where it ended up because we in California, we have to maintain our forests. You guys do in Oregon, but not as much as we do in California because we're a drier climate. We get hotter. Things dry out. And it's not so much like there was a whole thing where Trump interviewed Gavin and, Gavin made a smart ass comment about what he wants to do. Go out there and rake it. Yeah, that's exactly what he wants you to do. That's exactly what needs to happen because it may not have prevented this fire. What it did is it prevented the firefighters to get into the spot, to saturate the spot where the dirt to where the fire could be roaming. Firefighters know this, especially firefighters up in that do this forestry stuff. They understand about root fires. I understand about root fires. I'm not even a fireman. You know what I mean? Because we went always on the railroad, we learned a lot about it too, because the heat generates and it burns underneath. So with that being said, if they had done the maintenance that we pay the governor to do, then they would have been able to get to the spot, in my opinion, and they would have been able to flood it and maybe put the fire out. These firemen did not walk away from this job. They didn't want this to happen. I can't believe in my heart for 1 minute that one fireman would walk away from something like this. And I believe that. Yeah. They couldn't get to it. They couldn't see it because we aren't maintaining, and then, so this is completely avoidable, number one. And then you got Gavin Newsom making comments about how what does he want us to do? Go out and rake it by hand? Actually laughing, making fun of the fact that the Republicans are saying, hey, you need to do this. This is why we're having fires. This is why we're having problems. No, it's global warming. It ain't global warming. Okay, come on now. Come on. I'm just saying.
And so we have Gavin Newsom, the governor, that has some issues, that created some of these issues. We have local government in the LA area that was just asleep at the switch, just completely screwing this up.
Conspiracy theory, she didn't screw it up. They all went into hiding so BlackRock could buy all the property and they could do super intense building. That's a conspiracy theory. Sometimes I have them. I just don't talk about them much, but there's a pathway for that to be true. That's all I'm saying.
Wait. You don't talk about them much?
Yeah, no,
you don't talk about conspiracy?
Hey, well, I don't. This is the deal. I only talk about conspiracies where I see pathways for it to be true. I'm not saying that it is the truth. I'm not saying I really have any information to back it up. I'm just saying I see a pathway in order for that to be true. Because why wouldn't they?
Okay, absolutely. So anyway, it's nice that they found this guy. It's nice that they arrested this guy.
Absolutely.
I hope he's the right guy that they arrested, and I hope he's found guilty.
Well, he's an Uber driver, because they do really good background checks, evidently. So, we got that going for us.
Okay. Let's talk about that. That was just a quick aside in the Pacific. So California is going to be probably a topic of a discussion for us quite a bit, because there's a lot of crazy stuff happening in California all the time.
And this is the thing. We have legal, and this is how I figured out all the mail-in ballot stuff. We have been given illegal immigrants driver's licenses for 5 or 10 years now. And I couldn't figure it out. I mean, when it first started, I was like, why? They don't care. Democrats don't care about people. And why would they go so far out of their way when they're really not, they're not constituents? And then I figured it all out. Well, that's because it pads the numbers. It gives them the ability to add whatever votes they want, because you're not going to look at the ballots. They just know they have X amount of illegal immigrants that aren't going to come to the polling stations because they know they're going to get deported. So they know they have 10,000 illegal immigrants in one county. You can put 9,995 Democratic votes in that county and no one's going to say anything. Numbers match up.
Yep. All right. So that's Zack Bryan singing a love song to ICE. That's not very lovable.
Right.
Pretty negative.
His unnational anthem. His unnational anthem.
Freedom of speech. There's a lot of it going on right now. A lot of talk about it. Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, Zack Bryan. He has every right to do that song.
Well, yeah, you have every right to walk into an airport and yell the word bomb too, but you don't do it.
Well said. Well said.
Right about it. I mean, you have every right to do that. Feel free. Let me know how it works out for you.
Well said. But he is hanging his hat on, I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat, I'm just for my fans. I think that's just I just think that's a big cop-out. I mean, he's just like saying, for him to say that, he has to believe in what he's singing there.
Well, yeah,
he's not just doing it for the fans.
But he's hanging out with Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift, she voted Democrat. That's what happens. They get in a box and they don't care. They just don't. They only know what they're told because they're followers. They're in the entertainment business. They're constantly being lied to. They're constantly having their asses kicked. He probably believed this was going to be a huge hit and the whole world was going to rally behind him in his head. I really believe that he thought that. Just like when Taylor Swift said she was going to vote Democrat. Why would you do that? Just shut up. Just don't talk about it. Like, why would you cost yourself half the country in votes? You know why? Because they didn't know. They didn't know that it was 77 million people were going to do what they did. They had no idea. You know why they didn't know? Because everyone tells them that they're okay all the time. Because they don't know how it is to lose. And the polls always lie. Because the polls have to lie, because the Democrats, a lot of them are so weak, they have to be part of the winning team. That's why there's always, he raised more money. Why does that matter? It doesn't matter how much money he raised. It's not like I'm getting it. Well, it matters because it gives the Democratic people, the weak part of the Democratic Party, it gives them a reason to feel like they're winning. It gives them a reason to feel like they're right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why they do it. I mean, other than that, why else does it matter how much a campaign brought in? Honestly, what does it honestly matter? You know, I've always thought, you know what, let's just take the money out of politics forever. If you are a company, a media company in the United States of America, you should have to donate X amount of airtime to X amount of, you see what I'm saying? You got to do it. It's got to be free. If you're
Yep.
going to operate through the FCC, it has to be free, equal amount of time, equal for everybody, that they don't have to pay for. Because that way we get the money out of politics and we actually get the people that really want to be the governors, that really want to do these things for the people. You know, the reason why Trump is so much for the people is because he didn't need us. He didn't need the job. Couldn't be bought. That's why he's so good at what he is, because he didn't have to make any commitments. He didn't have to say, if I do this, if we give you this, you have to do this. He didn't have to do any of that. And that's why the Democrats hated him so much, because they couldn't own him. At the end of the day, that's what it was all about. They couldn't own him. They couldn't blackmail him. They had nothing on him. And they had one thing on him, which was the whole bus incident. Well, you know, let me tell you something. I have other thoughts on that.
He should. I mean, you're not saying he should have said it. He shouldn't have
No,
said it. It was a terrible
absolutely
thing he
not.
said.
Absolutely not. But we're all
And
guilty of saying
paid
things
a
in
price.
confidence. He did pay the price.
Absolutely. You know, you and I have both been in locker rooms, and there are a lot of things said in locker rooms that will never come out of a locker room. I mean,
No.
it'll never get said anywhere else. That doesn't make it right.
I'm sure on the women's side too. I'm sure
Absolutely.
they're talking trash too. And it's okay.
Absolutely.
They have that right. But some people are the way they are. Some people say things that they shouldn't say, but you can't back it up. You can't unsay something. That's the problem.
Exactly.
Unless you're a Democrat. If you're a Democrat, you can unsay stuff all the time. You're allowed to do that. You can unsay it like it never even happened. You can unsay. I unsaid that, so it doesn't matter.
All right. So, anyways, Zack Bryan, I'm afraid your time may be coming to an end, because you go down this road, it's a pretty scary road for you.
Oh, he's getting Cracker Barreled and Bud Lighted. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen.
And I don't think I could tell you a Zack Bryan song. I listen to country music though, and if it came on again, I'd listen to Zack Bryan, but I'm not going to seek out ways to listen to Zack Bryan.
And if you think about it, it's a hell of a way to sell a lot of albums, and that's how they make money, is by selling pieces of plastic and selling airtime. That's how they make their money. So in reality, he's going to get a bunch of people who don't listen to his music anyway, that they're going to go buy it just to say to ice and right. Just like Jimmy Kimmel, for instance. Jimmy Kimmel, they took him off the air, then they brought him back. He had more views than he'd ever had in the entire history. 3 days later, he dropped 79%. They don't care.
Yep.
They just wanted to win. And what happened? I think Jimmy Kimmel's canceled again.
Well, he's going to be. I mean, They're not going to. ABC
you
is a business. You
cannot hemorrhage $120 million a month on a show that doesn't bring in any money.
Exactly. And,
I mean,
that's really the end of the day.
They could pay me $3.
They could pay us 10.
Right?
No, we want more than that.
I wouldn't even care. It'd be more, like I said, these guys need to be paid upon, like salesmen. They need to be paid on a commission. The more ratings you get, the more money you make. But there's no super base. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, your contract is for $100 million if you hit these targets. But if you don't hit these targets, you're making 10. You know what I mean? That's just how I feel about it.
Yep.
But see, the problem is, like with Jimmy Kimmel, they believe in their hearts that everybody agrees with them, just like The View. They really believe in their heart that the whole world believes how they believe, because they're constantly getting sunshine blown up their ass, and they think that they are more important than they really are. Okay? Yeah. And they're not. The people don't care anymore.
Well, they become a laughing stock too. I mean,
absolutely.
Some people they watch them just so they can laugh at them.
Oh yeah,
It's crazy.
Sometimes I watch the Democratic stuff just so I can feel smarter. I do that sometimes from time to time. I mean, if you ever had a bad day, you're not feeling very smart, just jump on a Democratic chat room and watch. You will come out of there feeling like Einstein. I'm telling you.
All right. We both feel like we need to give some congrats to President Trump, because, the deal with Israel and Hamas hasn't been finalized, but boy, I tell you, he's doing some good work there, and it's awesome.
I'm reading an article right now from the New York Post that says that Gazans join Israel in a chant for Trump to be named name over ceasefire for the Nobel Prize. So you got the Gazans saying he gets the Nobel Prize, and you got the Israeli. I mean, they got to give it to him. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. You know, he stops wars. Everyone else starts them. You know, he's in the mix. He's handling business. You know, and I saw something the other day where something, you know, he just comes in with the United States and just starts throwing his weight around. Yeah, that's what we pay for as U.S. citizens.
That's what we do.
Pay for that. We pay to have him do that. We pay taxes so that he can walk into a room and say, you know what? We got this. You're going to stop or there's going to be consequences, and we have the power to do it. And when the UN got mouthy, what we do to them? We'll stop paying. We are the UN.
Yep.
At the end of the day, we are them. You know, and it's just, no, it's unbelievable what this man has done. He's got 5. I think this will be 6 overall. I don't know all of them, but I know that he is settling all these conflicts because he's just a great man, and he knows how to work. He's a businessman. That's what he does. You know, it reminds me of Reagan. Like I said, Donald Trump is happy with 80% of something, and he knows that 80% of something is better than 100% of nothing. And Reagan was very popular for making that statement, and he's very true. And that's how negotiators work.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, if you make a decision as president or as a bouncer, which I was for a long time, if you make a decision and somebody's not mad, you didn't make the right decision. And that's the way Trump is. If somebody's not mad on every decision that he makes, then he's not doing the job.
Well, negotiation 101 is that if you both leave a room happy, you've done it wrong. You both
Correct.
need to leave the room. You need to have given something.
Right.
And Trump is willing to give on some things, and he is reaching his big goals. And so I'm hoping this one gets to the finish line,
Well, you know,
and I think it will.
And hats off to the GOP right now in the trifolds of government. I mean, these guys are standing strong. These guys are doing what we voted for. They are telling the Democratic Party, F you, our people voted for this, and we're not going to do it. We're going to stand with our constituents. We're going to stand with we, the people. And that's what they're doing. And the Democrats are shutting down the government. And what's weird about it is the Americans, the Republicans, the Trump supporters, we don't care. We feel bad. We feel bad, but we really don't, because we're not causing this. It's about time. I remember everyone gets always, when the other times the government was shut down, everyone would flip out. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hey, I'm not trying to be a dick, but I don't care. I'm not going to go to a national park. I can sit at home for the weekend. It's too expensive anyway. You know what I mean? How does it actually really affect me? Hey, under California tax plan, I can't even afford to take a flight, so I could care less if there's no air traffic controllers. You know what I mean? I mean, I know it sounds stupid, but on a simple note for me, it doesn't affect me at all. My day is the same it was every day. You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt me or help me. In fact, the only thing that it really does is make traffic a whole lot easier through Sacramento, because all these government workers aren't coming to work. So, you know, it actually benefits me in a lot of ways.
All right. Hey, so we've gone through my list of topics for today. You got anything else you want to say?
No, you know, just God bless Trump right now for what he's doing, and, you know, say a prayer for him if you get a chance. You know, he's against all odds, which he has been since he was cheated out of the election in 2020. You know, say a prayer for the 20 million Democratic voters that died between COVID and the 2025 election. That was really hard. I mean, that's a lot of people to lose within 5 years, you know, and this is the thing. If they saw what Trump was doing right now, they would roll over in their graves, which they already have been for about 20 years. So, I mean, you know, it's good. Dead people vote for Democrats. It's just what it is. And, you know, I'm really proud to be an American right now. I'm very patriotic. I'm really appreciative of what the GOP is doing. They do some things that I disagree with a lot, but this is the thing. Like they're doing it right, and they're standing up for the people. And yes, people are losing their jobs, but they're not really. This is the thing. We don't need it anyway. This is just Doge on 1,000,000%. You basically, you know, he doesn't need congressional approval. He doesn't need anything. He can just say, you know what? I don't like that program, so I'm going to cut it. And if they want it back, they can fight me for it. Because once it's cut, they got to fight to get that. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's what he's doing. And with the whole WIC program, masterful. 5D chess, masterful. You know what?
Yep.
So, you know what? You're right. These people that are women in crisis, they need this stuff. You know what? I'm going to go over here and grab the money I need from the illegal tariff wall that the Democrats won't let me have. They're taking me to court. I'm going to go ahead and fund that program. The American people, our taxpayers, our hard-earned money are going to fund that because we as a people believe that that's the right thing to do. You don't see the Democrats talking trash on that, do you?
Hey, I want to close this by just saying, first of all, I appreciate Christian, and he's my cousin. I love him, and I'm looking forward to doing this with him on a weekly basis. Our goal is to get out a podcast once a week, at least to begin with. And if for the people that know me, this is a little bit out of character. This is a lot out of character for me. I've kind of, but Charlie Kirk was a hero of mine. I've followed him for a number of years. That makes it sound like more than it was. He was a young man.
Well, it
but I
felt like a
followed him for the
lifetime
last
with what
30
he was
years.
saying.
It did.
It felt like a lifetime because he had said everything that a lot of us Gen Xers had thought. So it sounded like he was with us our whole lives because we've always thought the way he was talking. And that's why the relationship with Charlie for Gen Xers was what it was, because we felt like he grew up with us. Even though he was a lot younger, we felt like he grew up with us because he was talking about the way we've always thought.
Yep. And so he encouraged people to speak up and speak out. And my faith is important to me. I believe in Jesus Christ. He's my Savior. And I also believe in our country. And I didn't want to be completely silent anymore. I'm not going to be out there leading any massive charges, but I'm not afraid of my country. I'm not afraid of my faith. And so I'm excited about this.
And I'm just tired of talking to myself, so that's why I'm doing it. I get tired of yelling at myself all day, so I appreciate somebody else listening. That's what I'm in it for.
I appreciate it. If you've made it to this point in the podcast, thank you very much. I want you to have a wonderful day.
God bless you.
God bless America. Take care.